We live in a world that's more digital than ever, with nearly every want or need just a tap away. And so many of our favorite digital services seamlessly meet the physical world when they're delivered to your front door. But until now, that hasn't been true for crypto. Digital currencies have been tied up online with no easy way to bring them into the real world. That's why we're so excited to share that you can now cash in and out of select digital wallets at participating MoneyGram locations without a bank, credit card, or debit card. Flex your finances using the only digital wallets with real cash access activated by MoneyGram. Learn more at moneygram.com/stellar wallets.
On today's Smart 7, new rules for 999 calls, this morning's troubles continue and lots more. It's Tuesday the 30th of May, it's World MS Day and happy birthday Indina Menzel.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Monday saw an announcement that the Met Police will stop attending 999 calls linked to mental health emergencies unless there's an immediate threat to life. The new policy comes into place from September and is supposed to prevent police officers from dealing with patients in need of expert medical help and allow them to spend more time focusing on crime instead. But Zoe Billingham, who's chair of the Norfolk and Suffolk NHS Mental Health Trust and the former Inspector of Constabulary, says mental health services won't be able to cope with the extra demand.
But the mental health service right now is creaking and in fact in some places is so subsumed with demand that it's not able to actually meet the requirements of those that need our services most.
But Met Police Federation Chair Ken Marsh doesn't seem as concerned. He says the current system's unsustainable for police officers.
We spend far too much time just babysitting, basically, with individuals that we bring into a place of safety. Then it resignates or it falls back on us to deal with that right up to the primary care position, which could be 8, 10, 12 hours. That's not acceptable.
And CEO of mental health charity Mind, Sarah Hughes, says the interests of mental health patients need to come first.
We can't have a situation where people with mental illness are regarded as a burden. Indeed, we have to find positive solutions, and the NHS, the police and other partners within the mental health system have to sit down together and resolve this problem.
The latest plan to tackle inflation is a voluntary supermarket price cap. Average food prices have soared by almost 20% over the last 12 months, the second highest rate in 45 years, with some items like milk now almost 40% more expensive than they were a year ago. Health Secretary Steve Barclay says it's important the government work directly with supermarkets to try and drive prices down.
We want to work constructively with supermarkets in a voluntary way to address the increase in cost that we've seen, particularly around food prices.
But these plans don't seem to be going down well with food manufacturers. They say the price hikes are due to lack of supply and increased operating costs rather than greed. And the British Retail Consortium's Director of Food and Sustainability, Andrew Opie, says retailers are already trying to keep margins slim.
From our perspective, we just don't understand what this proposal is actually meant to achieve, because there's nothing in this that would actually lower the price, because we've already done that.
Ukraine faced a tough weekend of relentless Russian shelling, with 5 of its aircraft now out of action following an overnight attack on a military target in the west of the country. On Monday morning, Kyiv faced its 15th airstrike of the month, with up to 40 missiles and 35 drones heading towards the capital. Fortunately, Ukrainian forces were able to shoot down most of the missiles, and Ukrainian head of intelligence Kirill Badavnov says the country's ready to retaliate.
All those who tried to threaten us, dreaming that it would have some effect, you will regret it very soon. Our response won't be late. Everyone will see everything soon.
And at least one person died in the early hours of Tuesday morning after Kyiv was hit with the third massive strike in 24 hours. But Russia's ambassador to the UK, Andrei Kelin, says that the attacks are just a sign of things to come.
It's a big idealistic mistake to think that Ukraine may prevail. It is even Zelensky is confirming that Russia is 16 times bigger than Ukraine. We have enormous resources, and we haven't just started yet to act very seriously.
Sunday saw US President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy reach an agreement on a long-anticipated deal to raise the country's debt ceiling. The pair were just days shy of a June the 5th deadline, which would have triggered a damaging federal default, although they'll still have to get the measure through Congress before Friday's deadline. And while Joe doesn't seem entirely happy with the deal, he says it's far from the worst possible outcome.
And the agreement also represents a compromise, which means no one got everything they want. But that's the responsibility of governing. And this is a deal is good news for, I believe, you'll see, for the American people. The agreement prevents the worst possible crisis, a default, for the first time in our nation's history.
Still to come on the Smart 7, the French Open's underway and tensions are high on this morning. Right after this.
We live in a world that's more digital than ever, with nearly every want or need just a tap away. And so many of our favorite digital services seamlessly meet the physical world when they're delivered to your front door. But until now, that hasn't been true for crypto. Digital currencies have been tied up online with no easy way to bring them into the real world. That's why we're so excited to share that you can now cash in and out of select digital wallets at participating MoneyGram locations without a bank, credit card, or debit card. Flex your finances using the only digital wallets with real cash access activated by MoneyGram. Learn more at moneygram.com/stellar wallets.
Welcome back.
It looked set to be a total wipeout, but Cam Norris kept Britain's hopes alive in the French Open after defeating crowd favourite Benoit Paire on Monday to progress to the second round. After teammate Jack Draper was forced to retire injured earlier that day, Cam looked likely to be joining him on the flight home, but managed to rally back from being a set down and 4-2 down in the final set to pull off a surprise victory. He's set to face Lucas Poole in the second round on Wednesday, and Cam says he's excited for what's to come.
I really enjoy the match. This is why I play tennis, why I prepare for these kind of matches. Best of 5, playing a French guy in Paris is really cool atmosphere, and a lot to work on. I definitely have to rest up, and it's not getting any easier.
The ongoing drama at This Morning shows no sign of letting up. After Philip Schofield quit, both he and former co-host Holly Willoughby were busy on Insta over the weekend. She said Phil had lied to her about the affair. Then Phil called out people with a grudge against him while praising the crew of the ITV show. Eamon Holmes has been busy ranting about Phil on Twitter, and he sat down with Dan Wootton on Monday night to dish the dirt on the whole affair. It's all made things very awkward on the actual show, where Dermot O'Leary and Alison Hammond have been struggling on.
We happen to be in the news at the moment, and of course we appreciate that, but just from both of us and the whole team here, the crew, the guys downstairs, we love making this show for all of you.
Yeah, we really do, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to continue to do that. So let's go on with our first news story.
Back in 2017, 25-year-old American NSA translator, the incredibly named Reality Winner, came home one day to find 2 FBI agents at her house who questioned her over whether she'd leaked an intelligence report about Russian interference with the 2016 US election. She ended up being handed down the longest ever prison sentence for unauthorised release of government information to the media. Fast forward 4 years, and Reality's been released from prison, and her story's now been turned into a movie starring Euphoria's Sydney Sweeney. Reality hits cinemas on Friday.
Reality is about a woman and a very pivotal moment in her life. And I was completely blown away by the story itself.
I don't think you're a big bad master spy.
What we both think is that maybe you made a mistake.
Every single word she says can be used against her.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes. We'll give you the world.
We live in a world that's more digital than ever, with nearly every want or need just a tap away. And so many of our favorite digital services seamlessly meet the physical world when they're delivered to your front door. But until now, that hasn't been true for crypto. Digital currencies have been tied up online with no easy way to bring them into the real world. That's why we're so excited to share that you can now cash in and out of select digital wallets at participating MoneyGram locations without a bank, credit card, or debit card. Flex your finances using the only digital wallets with real cash access activated by MoneyGram. Learn more at moneygram.com/stellar wallets.